Hi, welcome back to Kalo Gamer. This is just a brief collection video now. We're just highlighting my NTSJ Japanese Dreamcast collection. There's the NTSJ Japanese Dreamcast with the arcade stick controller, 4 mega memory, like a VMU, which minus the screen, it's just a memory card. You can flip between 4 pages, it's third party. You've got the VMU's controller, you've got the light gun, and you've also got the pink official Dreamcast controller as well. All those are boxed. Boxes are up in the loft. I don't keep the boxes down. The only box I've got down there is the arcade stick. That's only because I haven't put it up the loft. I purchased that about 6 months ago, and it's been sitting around. It's waiting to go up the loft, but generally I don't keep the boxes around. Not for the machines, consoles anyway. Just keep them out of the way, get them up in the loft for safe storage. But yeah, purchased the console back in January 1999, this very same console. It's still fairly light coloured. I've tried to keep it out of the sun. Obviously, like most consoles, they tend to tan when they're kept in sunlight or affected by daylight. The one controller I've got, which has sort of tanned lightly, that's one that I've used more often than not. That one, I'd say, that has discoloured slightly, and the plan is I'm going to exchange the tanned area on that one with the this cheapo European pad that I managed to pick up. I was going to cannibalise that and use all the bits and pieces as I needed. Picked it up well, a couple of years back, super cheap. It's about £2 or £2.50 or something. But yeah, that's the idea behind this. Purely the only reason why I bought it. Needs a bit of a clean up and whatever, and I'm just going to strip the parts out of it. As I say, the main reason for this video is just to highlight my Dreamcast collection. So obviously there's a lot of Dreamcast owners out there, and a lot of people really into Dreamcast. Obviously this collection is probably quite small compared to a lot of people's Dreamcast collections, but as I say, all these titles are all original. Many of them do come with the spine cards. I tried to collect them with the spine cards and what have you. And it's like, say for instance, I've got Berserk here, but I've got hold of them. I've tried to get them complete. So the spine cards behind the disc holder there. It's got all the bits and pieces and paperwork. Still got the original sticker sheet with that one actually. Berserk. Yeah, Guts Rage Berserk, whatever you want to call it. Trying to squeeze the manual, don't really want to crush the manual. Yep. So it's a handy tip if you have got spine cards. Keep them safe. Just store them behind the disc holder along with the points and what have you. Just keeps them out of harm's way, and you know they're all intact and they're kept there for safekeeping. So I do have some PAL Dreamcast games. I haven't actually got an action replay. This is just a demo version, but it works just as good as an action replay. You just pop the disc in, and you can, on the Japanese machine, you can play any PAL or American game. Did have some American games in the past. I had an American copy of Shenmue, but I sold it on, or part X'd it on, quite a while back. But yeah, I've got several PAL games. Only ones that I just can't find at the moment. Well, actually, I've got the Fantasy Star. He's on the way from Japan. The Japanese replacement version 2.0 and the standard Fantasy Star online. I have actually managed to source those from Japan. When I get those, I'll be checking them out, and if it's suitable, I'll be getting rid of the PAL versions, the PAL version. But generally, these titles are a little bit more trickier to come by, or for whatever reason, I've just managed to keep the PAL versions. But really, I do try and emphasise on collecting Japanese. Just the packaging and everything about them, I just prefer. Even the dual case boxes they're much easier to store, and they're just much more user friendly than the rubbishy, easy to break and totally like fragile as tissue PAL boxes. They were absolutely awful design. Anyway, back to Japanese collection. This one is Watch Shenmue, and that's a sort of demo of what actually, it just says what it is. It's just a demo of Shenmue, and it sort of tells you what to expect. And you got the Shenmue jukebox, you got Virtua Fighter 4 Passport and Virtua Fighter History. They were part of Shenmue 1. Sorry, Shenmue. No, the jukebox was part of Shenmue 1. Passport and the Virtua Fighter History were part of the Shenmue 2 collection. But the jukebox disc that was included with the limited edition Shenmue 1 Japanese release. You got Sonic Anniversary, 10th anniversary. Picked that one up for a good price actually. I think it was about 35 quid. Guy in Australia. You got a few of these for sale. So it was all complete. It's got the little gold coin in there as well, celebrating Sonic's 10th anniversary. They said it was only available for 2 days. They say there's the dates that it was available. But yeah, it's a nice collector's item, along with GameWorks, which I posted a video on recently. It's a nice collection of Sega coin-ops. Some of them more accurate than others, obviously. Power Drift's the one I really wanted on there. The others, Space Aviator is pretty good, but the others are been slightly doctored and remixed for the collection. But so we'll go through the Japanese releases and just highlight them. So what I think of them: 18 wheeler, it's a decent game. It's a conversion in Army coin-op. Aero dancing, it's okay. Aero dancing F. It's better than the normal aero dancing, but it's obviously you've got combat elements in there. Air Force Delta, otherwise known as Deadly Skies. I've actually got the follow-up to that one on the Xbox. I do like Air Force Delta. The Japanese one's got a out of the cockpit view as well. I do believe that the European version hasn't got. It's just an in-cockpit view. Decent game. I do like that. Decent game by Konami. You've got Berserk, or Sword of the Berserk, or Berserk Guts Rage, or whatever you want to call it. Always known it as Berserk. It's like a scrolling, well, sort of like a 3D action slash 'em up, a bit Devil May Cry-ish. Decent graphics, some nice graphics. Biohazard Code Veronica, I'm sure you're familiar with that one. Resident Evil Code Veronica, decent game. Blue Stinger, no, I like that. I did actually finish the Japanese version of that. It's one of the early releases, and I say I absolutely played that to death when I first had it. I didn't manage to finish it, weren't too difficult. Buggy Heat, a decent racing game, better in Japanese than the PAL release. It's nice and speedy. Well, it's speedy enough. Decent draw distance as well on that one, really. You've got a decent beat 'em up here now. You've got Capcom vs SNK, the original. And then you've got Pro, it's got the extra characters. You've got Danabiki out of the Street Fighter, and you've got Joe from SNK. We've got Capcom vs SNK 2, Confidential Mission, Crazy Taxi Collection, Crazy Taxi 1 and 2, D2. That's sort of an arcade RPG style adventure game by the late Kenji Eno. That's a decent game actually. I've managed to finish that one as well. It's quite tricky in Japanese, but you can do it. We've got Get Bass, coin-op conversion, Fighting Vipers 2, Ferrari F355, Sublime Dead or Alive 2 Dreamcast version. It's supposedly the limited edition version, which is actually more common than the standard version, what I've heard. And so Spine Car behind the back there. And so yeah, bit of a nuddy disc. There you've got Daytona USA, a bit alrighty. I don't mind it. Control system's probably a bit screwed, but it still plays decently. Got House of the Dead 2, Ikaruga, Incoming. That was actually developed by a Western company, Rage Software. You got Jet Set Radio. You got King of Fighters. You got Dream Match 99 and Evolution. Le Mans 24 Hours. It's a decent racing game. Only picked that up on Japanese recently. Had the PAL one for quite a few years. Decided to chop it in and get the Japanese one. Power Stone 1 and 2. Prefer Power Stone 1 over 2. 2's decent, but I always prefer 1. Mr. Driller. Marvel vs Capcom 1 and 2. Decent beat 'em ups. Some nice graphics. Decent sound. Macanex. First person slash 'em up. Come adventure game. Project Justice. Gaioke. Which is Rival Schools 2. I do believe that was a Naomi Coiner. British Rumble Boxy. That was developed by Midway. Sega GT. Sega Rally 2. Cracking conversion going up. A little bit of a frame rate stuff there, but nothing to complain about really. Decent game. Oh. Absolute classics here. Shenmue and Shenmue 2. Managed to finish them both. Japanese text. Wasn't really much of a problem to manage to finish them off. Got the Street Fighters. Space Channel 5. Soul Calibur. Another classic Dreamcast game. Need to pick that one up if you're a Dreamcast nutter. Most people have probably already got it. Sonic 2 and Sonic Adventure 2. And Sonic Adventure. You've got Shotoku Battle 1 and 2. Super Runabout. Toy Commander. Virtua Fighter 3.